Good. Welcome to Redbank Valley High School, where tonight the Redbank Valley Bulldogs host the Elkers of Ridgway in the first round of the Class AA basketball tournament. With me is Rich Rhodes, sports editor of the Leader Vindicator. Blaine has some duties he'll be doing prior. He'll catch up with us here at the start of the game. So a couple things, Rich, we want to talk about. Let's first talk about the pandemic. So a couple good things that have come out of this and a couple maybe not so good things. Obviously the not so good things, if you look around the gymnasium, very few spectators in here tonight. Per the governor's orders, we're currently at 15%. So our gym holds 850 people, so if my math is correct, that gets us to 127 and a half. So obviously we're at 127. The district committee then has decided if you are hosting a playoff game, there has to be equal fans for the away team as there is the home team. So what are your thoughts as we look at a gym where the home team, where the higher seed gets to host, but with limited fans tonight?
Well, at this point, I think the players, the coaches, and even parents are used to this situation. So I don't know at this point how relevant it is as far as affecting the game. It's unfortunate that we haven't had some crowded gyms this year. It's been a good year at Redbank for basketball. The boys 15-6 after winning 5 games last year, and the girls are making another run. You'll have them here tomorrow night against Montauk. It's making the best of a difficult situation, and that's what these administrators are trying to figure out. Some hard decisions.
A couple good things that my mind that have come out of this. Obviously, all the schools now are live streaming all the events. And it's a shame we haven't been doing this, for years past. Parents that are maybe away down in Florida for winter, running late, all games now are live streamed. Not only are they live streamed, they're archived then on YouTube, so you can go back 20 years from now, and these kids can show their children, hey, I was a pretty good basketball player back in the day. So definitely a positive that's come out of that.
Well, and that's definitely the case, and you guys have done a great job, adding some commentary and giving some insight, because turning a game on and watching live stream with no talking and maybe limited view at the scoreboard is almost as maddening as not being there.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's been some varied broadcasts out there so at least to have somebody at least giving you the running score and what might be going on is better than better than the live stream. But like you said, all these years it hasn't happened,
right.
And some opportunities are out there for relatives and people like that to watch.
Absolutely. A couple more positives in my mind. Now maybe you have a different point of view, so we'll discuss this a little bit. So this year for basketball, the higher seed gets to host the whole way through the finals. Now in other sports, in volleyball in years past, that's the way it's been up until the finals. And I think that's the way it's been in other sports too, up until the finals. But this year, obviously due to the pandemic, all playoff games, higher seed gets to host the whole way, including the finals. And I think from what I'm hearing, the district committee is actually looking at possibly continuing this, maybe not the finals in the future, but continuing with the higher seed. And I've always made the argument, I actually talked to Aaron Straub about this a couple years ago. He notoriously is ranked in the top 10 in the state and never gets a home playoff game. He'll get a bye in the first round, and maybe that 8-9 seed, the 8 seed will get the home playoff game, and then once you get to the quarters and semis, it's at a neutral site. So thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there's different thoughts on that, and the neutral site I think is the most ideal, because you could really talk about the seeding and then getting home court. That's almost a double advantage. And if you're the 1 seed, you're going to be playing the 8-9. Now you're going to get home field as well. Easier said than done. I've heard from administrators it's hard to find neutral sites. I like the neutral site. In fact, there's some matchups in the finals, Matt, through all these brackets that I'm kind of sketchy on making that a home game. What if it's Cowdy in Karn City, or,
right?
Some ridiculous matchups that could really cause a lot of travel issues. And that, frankly, in the finals should not be as much of a factor, and it could be.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into the next thing is they went to seeding this year. Now, again, I'm a huge fan of the seeding. My sport of volleyball, the WPIAL has been using a seeding committee for 20, 30 years. So this year, due to again to the pandemic, they decided to seed teams, and it really played out this year. If you look at the girls bracket that Redbank's in most years, Karn City would actually be the 3 seed, and Montauk would be the 4 seed, just because they have a better record. But Montauk beat Karn City twice this year, so common sense says Montauk should be the higher seed. If you look at the boys bracket here, Ridgway, a 5 and 8 team, but yet you're the 5th seed. Most years, if you'd went with the power ranking, they'd actually been seeded last. So they're ahead of Smethport, that's 9 and 9, and CL, that's 8 and 11. Interesting, Cowdy and Keystone, as we were looking at that, we weren't sure who would be the 2, who would be the 3, and some would say if they're the 2 and 3, they're going to meet each other anyway. But the higher seed gets that home playoff game, so I think it's a big difference. Keystone going to Coudersport instead of Coudersport coming to Keystone.
No, that's very true, and the committee came close to getting it right. I mean, the big wild card there is, will Coudersport have their best player in the lineup? And he's missed the last couple games. And we're talking about Hayden Keck, and if he's not in the lineup, they shouldn't be the 2 seed. But those are the things you kind of get into, the nuances of, what is the right seeding, the judgment calls, who's playing better at the end. I like a committee. I've always liked it. There shouldn't be a math equation to determine it, because it's discouraging teams from going out and playing tough competition. They're afraid to lose, and if you're afraid to lose when you schedule, Matt, you know what you're going to schedule versus what you're not going to schedule, and that's not making your program better.
Absolutely. So, Rich, let's talk a little bit about the game, obviously, tonight. So, when I think of boys basketball, I mean, I hate to say it, but Ridgway doesn't really come to mind as me as a powerhouse, and maybe it's because they're overshadowed by Elk County, and they're so close to there. But doing the research, Ridgway has 8 district titles, and if you look, they've been in 6 of the last 9 district finals, and I think, I watched your podcast last night, they've had how many 20-win seasons in a row? A quality program, the Ridgway Elkers.
Yeah, Tony Allegretto and his staff has built over the years a very strong blue collar attitude of going at a game. They're not gonna douse you with style or a lot of points. They're gonna play tough half-court defense, and they're gonna look for their opportunities, make you play defense for a while, maybe wear you down on that end of the court, and then just outwork you on defense. And you're not gonna see a lot of points tonight. I told some of the Redbank Valley kids earlier, I go, you score over 50, you might have a chance, and that would be a credit to them scoring against what I think is probably a very strong defensive-oriented program. And again, how good are they this year versus last year and the previous years when they made runs into the state playoffs? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard. 5 and 8. I'm guessing they're not as strong as in the past, but I would not overlook them. And I don't think Coach Marshall's team is.
Yeah, and I think that 5 and 8 record is obviously deceiving. They were in the bubble, so they had to play Elk County twice. They had to play Cameron County twice, Johnsonburg. Those are powerful teams up there. But if you look at the past, like you just talked about, 2018, 24-2, they won a state playoff game. 2019, 24-4, they won 2 state playoff games. 2020, 20 and 8. Again, they won another state playoff game. So they're used to going deep into the playoffs.
Really, the state playoff wins, it really speaks volumes for the success of the program. And really, that really is where it is. And again, I can't say more about what Tony Allegretto does with his style of hard-nosed defense. That has my respect, and that's why they're going to be a tough out.
Yeah, and you talked previously about scoring those 50 points. Looking at the teams they've played this year, the most points they've given up all year is 41 points.
Yeah.
They've given up 41 3 times, and all 3 of those have been losses.
Yeah.
But if you look, 8 of the 13 games they've played, they've held their opponent in the 20s.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about 2 polar opposite teams, oil and water. Last week, Redbank scored 101 on Monday and 99 on Tuesday. So Redbank likes to push the ball and likes to score. You talked about Ridgway. It's all about defense, getting the good open shot. They'll come down and take at least a minute off the clock every possession if they can.
Yeah, and we could see that here tonight. And the question is, how's Redbank going to respond to that? And, are they going to value the ball? Are they going to value every possession? Are they going to play the defense that you need to play in the playoffs to beat good teams that are designed to win playoff games?
So we want to thank Rich Rhodes for being with us tonight. We're now going to send it down. It looks like we're going to have our pregame with the starting lineups and the national anthem. Once again, Rich Rhodes, thank you very much, and we'll be with you back shortly. We're going to put it down to Blaine as they do the starting lineups.
Redbank High School District 9's athletic program sportsmanship, the only missing piece is you. Individuals are expected to be aware of their influence on the behavior of others and act in a responsible and positive manner at all times. In accordance with the return to competition guidelines, Redbank Valley requires all individuals to wear a mask at all times and maintain 6 feet of social distance whenever possible. We appreciate your cooperation in abiding by these requirements to protect yourself, to protect others, and to protect the season. And now, the starting lineups for your visiting Ridgway Elkers. A slot for number 4, Aaron Sewell. The junior number 1, Bonnie Alvarado. The junior number 23, Dan Ford. The senior number 2, RJ Miller. And the senior number 20, Alex Brown. The Redbank coach is Tony Alvarado, assisted by Mark Cruiser. Now the starting lineup for your Redbank Valley Bulldogs. A senior forward, 6'4", number 42, Owen Marinelli. A 6-foot senior guard, number 4, Landon Bates. A 6'4" junior guard, number 2, Northeast Florida. A 6'4" junior guard, number 1, Bryson Payne. And a 6'4" junior guard, number 3, Chris
Back here at Redbank Valley, where the Bulldogs will host the Elkers tonight, again in the first round of the AA playoffs. We want to thank our sponsors who are making this possible tonight. Pat Merwin Realty, found on Broad Street in New Bethlehem. Owner Janelle Bond. They can be found at merwinrealty.com and on Facebook at Pat Merwin Realty. Where the key to your home is our integrity. Pat Merwin Realty provides knowledge, service, honesty, security, team effort, experience, and integrity. If these values are important to you, then Pat Merwin Realty is the agency for you. Deb's Twisted Scissors is on Wood Street in New Bethlehem. Owner Deb Zamperini, specializing in color cuts, man's, petties, eyelashes, great staff for Julia McGinnis, Alice Conan, Holly Beavers, Angie Beatty, and Kaylee Keene. Subway, located in New Bethlehem, where winners eat fresh. Try our new protein bowls. Patriot Wood Products of New Bethlehem, where owners Darren Bain and Steve Smith. You can find them on Facebook at Patriot Wood Products. They specialize in custom furniture and wood products. PWP brings your ideas to reality. Also, Cycles of Clarion. We will get back to your sponsors here shortly as the game has started. Ridgway with the steal, and they will take the first possession of the game on their end.
All right, here we go. We're underway. Playoff basketball in New Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Blaine Gold, 60 degrees out, playoff basketball.
Yeah, you typically don't see that. And Ridgway's going to get on the board first. Dan Park's going to put it up for 2. Chris Marshall's going to bring it down to 4 for the Bulldogs. A lot of contact there. Nothing called by the far side, by the near official, but the far side official does call a foul. They call it on Marshall. Marshall's surprised by that call. 23. That was Dan Park with Ridgway's first points of the night.
So as we talked earlier, Blaine, the most points Ridgway has given up all year is 41 points.
Yeah.
And they've done it 3 times and lost all 3 games.
And
so that's kind of where we need to be tonight.
Redbank Valley coming in averaging 90 plus in their last 3 games. So definitely polar opposites between the two. And Ridgway's going to take a 4-0 lead here on Redbank Valley, laying it in for 2. And you can see that Bryson Bain was signaling Chris to get this ball in quickly, because that's obviously going to be the key tonight for Redbank Valley, athleticism and trying to run the floor, while Ridgway's obviously going to try to slow it down. Klaus in the game.
Bain with the runner, doesn't go. Maganotti with the rebound. He's going to put it right back up. The jumper doesn't go. It's going to be rebounded by Aaron Sorg. It's going to be brought down the other way. It's going to be handed off. Can't see the number at the moment. That's number 20. Bond feeds it. It goes back to Bond. Down in the corner to Miller. And not going to go. And it looks like we're going to have a jump ball here.
Obviously, Blaine, you can just feel the excitement.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Definitely different than the last regular season games we've been doing. This is definitely playoff atmosphere.
Obviously,
sure.
our Redbank Valley fans is familiar with our gym, as that jumper is going to go by Dan Park. Ridgway's going to take a 6-0 lead. There's typically the set of bleachers that's always put away, and that was specifically reserved for Ridgway fans. So a lot of noise coming from one area of the gym, which is nice to finally hear. So Redbank Valley looking to get on the board here. Gardlock's going to get called for the travel. And Matt, we talked about Ridgway being a team that wants to slow things down. 6 points right away in the first 2 minutes.
Let's get back to our sponsors that have made this possible for us tonight, Blaine. Homegrown Creativity, owner Ashton Shari, located in Templeton, PA, specializes in decals, clothing, home decor, and holiday decorations. She can also personalize items. Find Homegrown Creativity on Facebook for the latest in your home decor. And again, Seidels of Clarion Automotive Sales and Service, found on East Main Street in Clarion across from Sheetz. Owner Tom Seidel, General Manager Brian Ruth. You can find them at seidelofclarion.com. They're open Mondays from 9 to 7, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday 9 to 5, Saturdays 9 to noon.
So I think, Matt, right here, what you have is you have two different teams. You have a very experienced championship caliber Ridgway team, and you've got a Redbank Valley team that's returning to the playoffs after a year off. And obviously, it looks like Redbank Valley has right now the nerves on their side, but basketball being such a game of momentum, obviously at some point that's going to stop. Coach Marshall calls the timeout there to try to stop that momentum. Nice little runners, and one's going to miss the runner. That's going to be missed by Allegretto, but he's going to get his own rebound and put it up and in. So, Matt, I think it's safe to say 8-0 lead by playing Redbank Valley's game here. Nothing slow about the way Ridgway's playing right now. Gardlock's going to feed it down to Bain. Bain's in the corner. He's going to give it back up top to Gardlock.
Man-to-man defense from Ridgway.
Marshall's going to set the pick there for Gardlock. Give it over to Bain. Bain's going to drive baseline. He's going to attempt to pass down to Klaus, but it's going to be deflected off of a Ridgway defender out of bounds. On the floor for Redbank Valley, we have Bain, Gardlock, Marshall, Klaus, and Mansfield, who checked into the game during the timeout. Bain's going to take the three. It's not going to go. It's going to be rebounded by Miller for Ridgway. And Ridgway's going to come down the floor looking to make it possibly a 10-point lead. Miller's going to dribble. It's going to be stolen by Klaus. And Bain had Marshall there.
Probably
that was
a good foul there,
a very
honestly,
smart
yes.
foul there. And I don't know if the Ridgway defender that committed the foul knew that Gardlock was breaking away, but that probably would have been a guaranteed 2 points. So with the foul, Ridgway's going to make Redbank Valley earn it here on this possession. 5-minute mark of the first quarter. Marshall with the ball. Mansfield sets a pick to him. He's going to drive to his right. He's going to swing it over to Gardlock. Gardlock's going to take the three. In and out, not going to go. Ball tipped. It's going to ultimately be rebounded by Park. He's going to feed it back to Bond, and then it's going to be given to Allegretto, who's going to bring the ball up the floor. And Allegretto's going to drive. He's going to dish it down inside. Nice spin move there. Ball doesn't fall. That was Miller on the shot. Marshall gets the rebound, immediately takes it down the floor. He's going to drive to his right, dish it to Klaus in the corner, and the freshman is going to get Redbank Valley on the board. 8-3.
Huge turn of events, Blaine. That could have been 10-0. Layup miss. Redbank comes down, hits a three, cuts it to 5.
And that's the freshman Klaus getting Redbank Valley on the board right away. And, Matt, I didn't see what happened. Obviously, I know that what the starting lineup was. Klaus wasn't on it, but I don't know if that was a last-minute change there by Coach Marshall, but I believe that Klaus started this game.
Looks like we have another timeout, Blaine. I actually watched a Ridgway game last night, and it was Hoosiers all over again. I mean, The entire game, it was 8 to 10 touches before they ever took a shot. And I'm not talking 90% of the passes were bounce passes. 100% of the passes was bounce passes. It was how you teach third-grade basketball to a T. Blaine, one thing we haven't talked about yet is Ridgway without their coach tonight.
Yeah,
Last
I was
game of the
talking
year.
to Ridgway's newspaper guy, that Ridgway's Rich Rhodes, I guess we can call it, and he was saying that Ridgway was trying to pick up a buffer game to basically a game that didn't mean anything, but that would have been the game that he would have sat as opposed to sitting.
Yeah, so for all the
playoff
spectators
game.
out there, what we're talking about is the last regular season game last Tuesday. Ridgway was playing Kane, went into overtime. Ridgway drove to the basket. The bench thought there was a foul. There was nothing called. The head coach ended up getting a technical, and then he ended up getting a second technical, which ejected him from the game, which not only do you have to sit out the rest of that game, you have to sit out the next game as well, and their next game is this playoff game.
Yeah. Yeah, so I thought that was an interesting tactic there. Obviously, Ridgway must have been under the 22 games. I imagine if I was the head coach, I'd be trying pretty desperately to find that game.
Yeah, I play anybody,
Yeah.
anywhere you could at that point, right?
But just couldn't find anybody to pick up that game with, and they're part of that northern bubble, so they were limited to just pick up games with people inside that bubble.
Right.
So out of the timeout here, it's going to be Redbank Valley basketball. Gardlock's got it. He's going to drive, and they're going to call the charge on Gardlock. So Gardlock with the take there, it bounces off of the backboard, off of the front of the rim, doesn't fall, but more importantly, Gardlock's called for the charge. So that's going to be Redbank Valley's second foul. Ridgway still with one foul. So ball's going to be brought up. Obviously, Redbank Valley pressuring right away to force Ridgway to move that ball around as opposed to running any clock. 5-point game, 8-3. Ball's fed inside. It's going to be stolen by Gardlock, and it's going to be stolen back, and one Allegretto's going to lay it up and in. So flurry of activity there. Ridgway had the ball stolen by Gardlock. Then it was stolen
Nice
back.
pass.
Bain's going to go, and Bain's going to get fouled. And
Good
so
look
Bain
from
is going to
Gardlock
head
to
to the
see
foul
Bain
line.
coming back door
Yeah.
on the baseline.
So that's going to be Allegretto's second foul here in the first quarter. What do you have for Allegretto for points so far, Matt?
He has four for Ridgway.
Bain's true on his first free throw, so Bain's going to look to cut this lead in half to 5 points. And his shot is up, and it goes. So Bain is true from the charity stripe for 2. It's going to be 10-5 Ridgway with 3:12 left in the first. Ball's going to be brought up by Ron. He is met by, or Bond, pardon me. He's met by Bain. It's fed over. And it's interesting, Matt, they continue to get those wide open looks underneath for Ridgway. And that's the ball is going to be deflected off Ridgway. It's going to be Redbank Valley basketball.
Interesting, just the type of play they're playing. Ridgway had the ball underneath, and they look to get it back
Yeah.
out. So they're looking still to kill clock as much as they can.
So Allegretto's going to check back into the game. It looks like there possibly was an injury or something to Miller, because obviously he had just taken Allegretto out. I don't think he wanted him checked back in. It looks like
he's having a contact
issue. Garlock's at the top of the key. He's going to hand it off to Bain. Bain's going to drive. He's going to give it to Klaus. Klaus is going to shoot. It's going to go, and it's a 3. So Mason Klaus, the freshman, with 6 of Redbank Valley's first 8 points here. And since that 8-0 start for Ridgway, Redbank Valley has gone on an 8-2 run to get it within 2, thanks to the sharp shooting of freshman Klaus. And that's going to be called Ridgway on the baseline. And Matt, here comes that momentum shift that you talk about. That Manny, Coach Marshall called that timeout, slowed things down, tried to get composure, and right now you can feel that momentum shifting the other way.
Continuing the pressure defense, trapping in the corner every possible time they can.
And what's a good thing here if you're Redbank Valley, your big 3 haven't got going yet, but you've got a freshman off the bench that's keeping you in the game at this point. So you got to feel good even though you're losing about that aspect of it. So Gardlock has the ball. He's feeds it. Mansfield's able to save it from going out of bounds. Bain's going to take it. He's going to step back. It's not going to go. It's going to be rebounded by Benninger for Ridgway. He's going to drive down the floor. It's going to be given back up to the top. Klaus and Gardlock's going to double, and they're going to get Gardlock on the foul. And that's going to be Gardlock's second foul, and immediately Marshall calls for Klaus and both Maganotti to check into the game after that foul for Gardlock. I would imagine that Gardlock will probably be sitting for the remainder of the first quarter here with 2 fouls.
Yeah, that definitely hurts the defense for Redbank as he puts that pressure up front.
Yes. And so interesting there. checked in Klaus. So I imagine going to put Klaus in that position. And this is the Ridgway special here, right? They're going to hold the basketball until you force them to do it. And so they hold the ball a little bit at the top, set up the offense. That ball is going to make its way down into the corner. It's going to go back up top. It's going to go out to about the wing. That's going to be given to Bond. And they're going to get a foul on Klaus. It's going to be Owen Klaus that they get the foul on. So Redbank Valley with 4 fouls here in the first quarter. That's Klaus's first. So Redbank Valley immediately meets the Ridgway defender who splits it, not splits it, but goes to the left, gets the ball inside. Pump fake once by Miller. Marshall jumps. As Marshall was coming down, Miller goes up again. Marshall makes contact, and that's Marshall's second
as
foul.
well, yes. Redbank getting in a little foul trouble early here in the first half.
So at this point, too, and it looks like Pence is going to be coming into the game as Miller's first foul shot does go. We talked about going into this game about how Coach Marshall was doing such a good job of getting his 6 through 10 guys a lot of playing time, and here you go right off the bat. You have 2 freshmen checking into the game because of foul trouble by Gardlock, and Miller is going to make his second. So Bain, the remainder of that big 3 that's back on the floor for Redbank Valley, he's joined by Maganotti, Pence, Klaus, and Klaus. Bain's at the top of the key, calling signals. Maganotti's going to come up and set a pick. Bain's going to go the opposite way. It's fed down to Klaus. It's given to Maganotti. Maganotti, somewhat of a bad pass. It's saved by Bain. Klaus is going to pump fake. He's going to feed it to his brother. Fed down inside. Stolen. And then stolen again there by Miller. So it's 12-8.
Look for Ridgway to definitely try to take the last shot here.
Yeah,
Blaine,
the coach
in the first
immediately
quarter.
got in the ear of Bond as Bond was bringing the ball up, so I imagine they're going to move it here, try to take that shot. If I'm Coach Marshall, I may be okay with that right now, with both Gardlock and Marshall on the bench right now. If you can prevent another score here, it may not be the end of the world. Benninger's going to give it off to Park. He's going to give it down to Miller, defended by Pence. That's going to go up to the top. And again, obviously last shot there, Matt, because they had a wide open lock at a 3. And that's going to be a charge. So big possession here for Redbank Valley. 8.7 seconds left, 12-8 game.
Could be a 4-point or 5-point swing here, Blaine, with less than 10 seconds left.
Redbank Valley has a chance to cut this to a 1-possession lead after being down by 8 to start the second quarter. Bain has the ball. I imagine Bain's going to take this shot. He takes a little runner, floater, and he gets it to fall. Bryson Bain gets the 2 and gets it to fall.
Big change at the end of that first quarter. So scoring here in the first quarter, we have for Ridgway, we have Dan Park with 4, Dominic Allegretto with 4, Aaron Sorg with 2, RJ Miller with 2. For Redbank Valley, we have Owen Klaus with 6 on 2 3-pointers, and we have Bryson Bain with 4. Go ahead and mention our sponsors again, Blaine. They are the ones who were able to make this possible for us tonight. We have Pat Merwin Realty, found on Broad Street in New Bethlehem. We have Deb's Twisted Sisters, found on Wood Street in New Bethlehem. Subway, located across from the high school here in New Bethlehem. Patriot Wood Products, again from New Bethlehem. Homegrown Creativity, located in Templeton, PA. And Seidels of Clarion Automotive Sales and Service, found on East Main Street in Clarion. So a very entertaining first quarter.
Yeah, for sure. Started out 8-0. Following that 8-0, a 10-4 run by Redbank Valley. And Matt, I think probably the exact opposite of what we expected from Ridgway. Ridgway attacking the hoop, especially early on, trying to get the last shot possession there. That worked out for Redbank Valley with the turnover. But an exciting first quarter nonetheless, 22 total points. And Matt, what did we say? Some teams don't score 20 total points against Ridgway. Or maybe they're in the 20s. Marshall's going to feed it inside to Klaus. He's going to miss, but Marshall's going to be there to tip it up and in. So we have a tie basketball game here at 12-12. As
Blaine, we have our
brings
first
it up.
update. We have Keystone leading CL 17-6 at the end of 1.
No, probably
over
not a
CL.
surprise there, correct, Matt?
Yeah, Keystone definitely the higher seed, as they're the 3 seed. CL's the 6 seed.
Keystone CL, from what I understand, a young basketball team.
Yeah, I mean,
And as There was a drive there on the baseline by Park. Official signals that Park stepped on the baseline. It's going to be Redbank Valley basketball. And for the first time since the first possession of the game, Redbank Valley has a chance to take a lead here with 7:14 left in the second. Gardlock brings the ball up for Redbank Valley. Gardlock's going to set it up at the key. Nobody pressuring him. He goes back and forth, left to right, steps up, feeds it over to Klaus. Klaus is going to give it back to Gardlock. They are joined on the floor by Klaus, Bain, and Marshall. Klaus is going to drive, not going to go, fight for the rebound, and they are going to call a jump out ball. Position there by Bain had me a little nervous that was going to be an over the back there for a second.
I thought that was going to be called on Bryson as well.
Obviously, Redbank Valley not needing any unnecessary fouls at this point. 5 fouls here entering the second quarter, just a minute into the second quarter. So Ridgway's going to bring the ball up. It's a tie basketball game. Marshall is going to meet Allegretto at the top of the key. It's going to be fed down to the corner, and it's going to be given back up top there to Park. It's going to be given out. I'm sorry, it was given down to Park. 20 is balling up at the top. From talking to Roddy Hardo, who does a lot of officiating, Matt, they said it's not so much that they hold the basketball, they will move the basketball continuously until they get the exact shot that they want.
It'd be interesting to know how many three-pointers they've actually attempted this year. I'll bet I would say Redbank in probably a week has attempted more than maybe Ridgway has the entire season.
Say Redbank Valley probably has a couple more than what Ridgway has this season. All right, here we go. So Marshall's going to bring the ball up again. Redbank Valley looking for their first lead of the evening. Marshall's going to pump fake, give it over to Mason Klaus. Marshall with the ball. Bain's going to set a pick for him. Goes to drive, doesn't go anywhere. He is now going to drive, and it's going to be deflected, but it's going to be picked up by Klaus, and Klaus deflects the ball out of bounds off of Benninger. So Klaus not seeing much there, just intentionally spiked the ball off the shin of Benninger to give Redbank Valley a new possession. So ball's going to be inbounded to Bain. Marshall's going to come to set a pick. Bain dribbling. Bain's going to give it back up top to Marshall. Marshall's going to drive. He goes to step back. Bain's going to take the three, not going to go. Fed inside to Bain. Bain's going to turn around and a nice little hook shot to put it up and in for Redbank Valley. 5:30 left here in the first, and Redbank Valley has taken their first lead of the basketball game. On the bench, getting ready to check in for the Bulldogs is Mansfield, Pence, and Maganotti. Ball's going to be fed out to the top. It's going to be given down to the corner, not going to go. Rebound, Gardlock. Notice Ridgway, Matt, immediately sending two defenders
Two guys back, absolutely.
Marshall's going to take the three, not going to go, but Marshall's going to head to the foul line for 3 foul shots. And I'll tell you what, just came probably a fraction of an inch off of making this a 4-point play as opposed to 3 foul shots.
Blaine, all Ridgway in the first about 4 and 5 minutes, and it's a complete turnaround here as Redbank has come back and taken the lead.
And Marshall's first free throw does not go, and I really do, Matt, I think you can, every team, I believe, especially when you get to the playoffs, I mean, you're playing, winner moves on, loser goes home. There's always going to be some nerves there. Marshall's second free throw is going to go. But for Redbank Valley, Matt, nobody on the floor has won a playoff basketball game before in their time on the floor. Maganotti, Pence, Sherry, the seniors on this basketball team, they have been to a playoff game, but they have never won a playoff game.
Yeah, and Rich and I talked earlier, Blaine, Ridgway's been to 6 of the last 9 District 9 finals.
That's a huge difference. And even if Ridgway isn't the typical Ridgway team of what you typically see, that's a championship caliber program that's used to playing in these games. Even though they're not on their home court, they're still used to playing playoff basketball, and this is something that's new for that Redbank Valley team. So as they continue to get comfortable and kind of settle into their game, it'll be interesting to see if we see some of the same things we saw all season.
Down in front of the student section, it's like Cameron Indoor in here. The bleachers are literally right up against the court here.
It seems like, Matt, 1 year ago we had 849 people in here for a playoff game. Obviously, we're nowhere close to that. I believe the number tonight was 127, but
Correct.
It feels like we have 849. Jumper by Ridgway is not going to go. Rebound taken, just bounced over Gardlock's head by Ridgway. Allegretto looks to shoot, puts it on the floor, giving back up top there to Bond. Bond's going to give it down the park. It's going to go inside. Looks like, oh, just over the fingertips of Bryson Bain. And so Bond's going to take it back up to the top. It's going to go back to Bond, down to Allegretto. Park has the ball. Back to Allegretto for three. Does not go. Nice hustle play by Ridgway. Looked like Gardlock had a guaranteed rebound, but Ridgway defender made him work for it. Bryson Bain's going to take his patented long three, and Bryson Bain's going to nail it to give Redbank Valley a 7-point lead. So we have right now, Matt, a 19-4 run by Redbank Valley since that 8-0 start by Ridgway. Drive there by Allegretto, not going to go. Rebound Maganotti, given to Bain. Redbank Valley looking to push it. Bain's going to bring the ball up. He's going to set up the offense. Bain looked for a second. He was going to take another one of those long threes. He takes his little patented runner, doesn't go, just around the rim and out. So Ridgway, Miller's going to bring the ball up the floor for Ridgway. Given to Allegretto. Given down to Bond. Over to Miller. Back up top to Allegretto. Fair to say, Matt, Redbank Valley with the size advantage tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ridgway, though, I think the definition of a scrappy basketball team from what we've seen so far. So despite having the size advantage, they've gotten multiple rebounds by just hustling to the basketball on missed shots. Miller's going to dribble. He's going to be doubled by Pence and Bain. Fed down inside to Park. Fed back outside to Miller. Miller's going to drive, and they're going to get Bain on the foul. So that's going to be Redbank Valley 6th foul. That's going to send Miller to the line. And Matt, with 2:56 left here, Ridgway still has not scored in the second quarter. Am I correct on that, Matt?
That is correct. So two, I think, big keys here have happened in the second quarter. One, Ridgway has not scored. Two, both Marshall and Gardlock are still only at 2 fouls.
Yeah.
They had that in the first quarter, and they've been able to stay away from that third foul.
If they can get to halftime without that. And obviously that's going to change the way that you're playing on defense. I'm curious to see the last possession down, maybe the last or the one before that. It was Marshall at the top defending the ball carrier. Actually, it was Klaus at the top defending the ball carrier.
Yeah.
Wondering if he's going to possibly bump Gardlock down underneath. Obviously, when he's coming up right away, meeting the Ridgway ball handler at half court, there's obviously a lot more opportunity for contact there.
Yeah, and if we look back here in the first half, I think really one of those big keys, it was 12-8 Ridgway. They had the ball. They were trying to get that last shot. A charge call on Ridgway. We took the ball down and scored right at the buzzer, Bryson Bain. So, it could have been 14-8. We ended the quarter only down 12-2.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was definitely, Redbank Valley did a good job of, and Matt, you understand as a coach that no matter how good or well prepared you are, there's times where you have to weather that momentum storm by another team. Redbank Valley did that. Coach Marshall got a timeout in. They were able to weather that 8-0 run, and they've been able to respond prior to this foul shot 19-4 since that 8-0 run. Miller's first foul shot's not going to go, so Ridgway still scoreless here in the second quarter with 2:56 left. On the floor for Redbank Valley, we have Marshall, Bain, Mansfield, Pence, and Maganotti. So Gardlock to the bench. Ridgway misses both shots, but they get the rebound. But then it's going to be stolen by Marshall, and then it's going to be deflected. Pence is going to get it. He's going to give it back to Marshall. Marshall's going to drive the baseline. He's going to feed it into Mansfield. It's not going to go. Mansfield did for a second look like he got his own rebound.
And that's going to put Ridgway to the line.
It is.
That puts them in the bonus with the 7th foul.
And you could tell there, Mansfield looked like he got himself in a position where it was going to be a foul. He tried to pull his hands back, but the foul was still called nonetheless. So for the rest of the second quarter, just under 3 minutes left, Ridgway's going to be in the shooting bonus. And the 1-and-1 shot does not go, so Ridgway's 0 for their last 3 free throw attempts, but it is rebounded by Miller. It's given to Bond. And then almost thrown out of bounds, but nice save there down in the corner, given back up to Miller. Marshall guarding Miller. And it's going to be a timeout there. It's going to be a 30-second timeout for Ridgway.
And obviously, Ridgway plays such good defense. They keep the score very low. You just got to wonder if they get down 10 points, can they score enough points to actually come back?
Yeah, and that's what, if I'm Coach Marshall right now, and again, I say if I'm Coach Marshall with probably the least amount of basketball knowledge of anybody in this gymnasium, but I'm thinking that if I can try to push this to a 10, 12-point lead at halftime, that's a lot different than a 10, 12-point lead against a Clarion or against some of those high-scoring teams that you played with this season. And this is where it kind of comes into play that even in a lot of those losses, even some of those things that they took on the chin, it kind of molded them for this, that if they keep their mindset right, a 10, 12-point lead is almost like a 15, 16, 17-point lead against a lot of the teams they played against this year. Allegretto's going to feed it down inside the park. Miller's going to break free, but again, that height of Redbank Valley comes in handy, but Miller with a nice, impressive fadeaway jumper there. It didn't look like he had a chance there underneath. He dribbled, took a step back, and got the jumper to fall. So that's going to be Ridgway's first points here of the second quarter. 5-point lead. It's going to be ooped down inside to Gardlock. Gardlock does not take the shot, but gives it over to Sherry. And that's going to be a foul on Ridgway. That's going to be their 5th. 1:56 left here in the second. Bain is going to inbound it to Maganotti. He's going to give it to Gardlock. Gardlock's got an opening there. He's going to drive it, give it over to Sherry. Back to Marshall. Marshall's going to dribble, and he's going to drive, and he's going to get the foul call. And it looked like at first their coach was upset at the call, but I think he possibly was looking inside to his defender. I think basically saying, I think that's what he's saying, hold your spot. Marshall's going to go to the foul line. 19-14, 1:42 left in the second. First one's going to go, and it's going to hit. 2014, Redbank Valley. Marshall's second free throw is true. So it's a 7-point lead for Redbank Valley, 1:42 left here. Allegretto's going to bring the ball up. And that ball's going to be kicked violently out of bounds by Gardlock. Not so much a violent kick, but it was a pass that had a lot of momentum behind it. Instantly hit Gardlock's foot and nearly hit assistant coach Dan Ion in the face. Ball's going to be inbounded way back to Allegretto. Marshall's going to meet him as he brings it up. Sherry on the defender. He's going to drive. That's going to be too hot to handle for Miller, and it's going to be going the other way. So that was Beninger with the basketball.
Yeah, and Ridgway's beating that first layer and getting the pass down inside.
They are
unable to.
And that's where they were getting that early, Matt. They really were getting those bunnies underneath, and that's something that I'm sure Coach Marshall addressed because Redbank Valley clearly has the height advantage. 4 starters with the 6'4" height. So obviously you want to take advantage of that height, not give up those shots. Bain's going to dribble over the wing. Nice feed inside to Sherry. Marshall's going to reverse underneath, and he's going to hit it. Nice shot by Chris Marshall, but a really nice feed by Sherry underneath with the assist. Less than a minute left. So here's this point, Matt. It's a 9-point game. We just said a 10 to 11, 12-point lead going into halftime would be huge for Redbank Valley. Can they get a stop here and get the basketball back? Allegretto underneath. Nice attempt there. He went up and over Gardlock to put it up and in. Nice bucket by Allegretto. Gardlock brings it down. Bain with a chance for the long 3. Doesn't go. Rebound Marshall. Marshall looked like the first time he got hit in the face, and then he gets knocked down. So that is going to be Ridgway's 7th foul. So Marshall with the chance to match Allegretto's bucket on the other end.
And Blaine, that's Allegretto's 3rd foul.
That's big. It's big for, I don't know if you went over scoring in the pregame, Matt, but it seems pretty clear that that's kind of their battery there.
Yeah, he's their second leading scorer.
Okay.
Coach's son.
Okay. Who is their first? Was it Miller?
It's Park.
Park. Big man. Chris Marshall's second shot is off the front of the rim, doesn't go. Rebound Park, so it's an 8-point lead for Redbank Valley. Allegretto's driving against Sherry, loses the basketball, but is able to get it as both Sherry and Marshall were in the air as the basketball was on the ground. 17 seconds left. Ball's fed out to Allegretto. Ridgway undoubtedly attempting to get the last shot in. Look how quickly they're moving the basketball. Big man's going to take the 3, and he's going to hit it. Something happened there, Matt.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was, Blaine.
I don't know if there was a collision and it prevented Bryson Bain from grabbing the basketball to inbound it. I don't know if it was a delay of game of sorts, but Matt, that was a huge three by Ridgway there. Taking an 8-point lead, cutting it to 5 at this point. Ball goes out of bounds, but much to the chagrin of the Elkers faithful that made the trip tonight. It's going to be inbounded to Gardlock. It's 2-1. Gardlock's runner. Did they call a foul? They called a foul.
They did call a foul.
And Gardlock is going to head to the free throw line for 3 foul shots.
Very
Wow.
rarely do you see the foul call with the last second shot like that.
Wow. So Gardlock with a chance here to extend this anywhere from 6, 7 to 8,
And obviously,
heading into halftime.
other than a technical, the only other time you're at the line with no one else on the line, the end of the half or the end of the game.
And what's unique about that, Matt, it's almost it was a desperation runner by Gardlock. He did get within a foot of the three-point line, but he's off balance. He's just trying to get up a shot, and he was able to draw the foul. And so at this point, Matt, even if he misses the third, 2 huge points there. Redbank Valley inbounded that ball with 3 seconds left in their own end of the court, and Gardlock's going to go 3 for 3, and that's going to push the Redbank Valley lead back to 8. And so Matt's going to have some totals. We're going to have some words from our sponsors here.
All right, so totals for Ridgway in the first half. We have Dan Park leading with 7 points. Dominic Allegretto with 6. RJ Miller with 4. Aaron Sorg with 2. For Redbank Valley, we have Chris Marshall with 9. Bryson Bain with 9. Owen Klaus with 6. Marquise Gardlock with 3. So interesting, in that second quarter, all the points were by Bain and Marshall up until the very end where Gardlock made those free throws.
Again, it's easy to continue to tally it, Matt, because it was 8-0. So since that 8-0 lead, it's been a 27-11 run by Redbank Valley to take this 8-point lead into the half. And so, Matt, it's my understanding that we're going to do the opposite of what we typically do. We're going to stay here. I think that you have some things for us.
We do. And I think one of those keys we did talk about again, but we need to reiterate this: the end of the first quarter and the end of the first half. Again, Redbank held off that last second shot by Ridgway and ended up scoring at the end of the first quarter, and then they got the 3 free throws at the end of the second quarter. So the last couple seconds of each quarter in the first half definitely played in the hands to Redbank Valley. We do have an update, Blaine. I want to get this out. From the CL Keystone game. It looks like it's it is 34-16 Keystone at the half.
34-16 Keystone.
So let's go ahead. Again, the sponsors are able to make this happen tonight. This is a district playoff game, so they are charging all the outlets to do the games. So without these sponsors, we would not be able to do this game for you. Pat Merwin Realty, found on Broad Street in New Buffalo. Owner Janelle Bond, found online at merwinrealty.com and on Facebook at Pat Merwin Realty, where the key to your home is our integrity. Pat Merwin Realty provides knowledge, service, honesty, security, team effort, experience, and integrity. If these values are important to you, then Pat Merwin Realty is the agency for you. Deb's Twisted Scissors is on Wood Street in New Buffalo. Owner Deb Zamperini. They specialize in color, cuts, tanning, manis, petties, and eyelashes. Great staff of Julia McGinnis, Alice Canan, Holly Devers, Angie Beatty, and Kayla Keene.
I'll throw in there, too, Deb's such a great fan of Redbank Valley Athletics, Matt. I know anytime I post anything to our Facebook social media, she's one of the first to like it and share it almost all the time. So great friend there.
Subway, located in New Buffalo across from the high school, where winners eat fresh. Try out our new protein bowls. Patriot Wood Products out of New Buffalo. Owners are Darren Bain and Steve Smith. Find them on Facebook at Patriot Wood Products or call 814-541-2920. They specialize in custom furniture and wood products, powder coating, and hydrographic services. Patriot Wood Products brings your ideas to reality. Homegrown Creativity. Owner Ashton Shirey, located in Templeton, PA. They specialize in decals, clothing, home decor, and holiday decorations. She can also personalize items. Find Homegrown Creativity on Facebook. for the latest in home decor. And finally, Seidel's of Clarion, automotive sales and service. Found on East Main Street in Clarion, across from Sheets. Owner is Tom Seidel. General Manager Brian Ruth. You can find them at seidelsofclarion.com. They're open Mondays from 9 to 7, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 to 5, Saturdays 9 to noon. And that is a new business that has just opened recently on Clarion. I know I've already been out there, had my car inspected. If you see any of these sponsors, please give them a big thank you for making this happen, bringing not only this game, but also we will be doing the game tomorrow night as well, as our Redbank Valley girls team hosts Montauk in the semifinals of the AAA District 9 tournament. So let's look a little bit of the bracket for AA. We just talked about our girls are AAA. The boys are AA. So the number 1 seed is Karn City, 20-2 record. The only 2 losses on the year are the Du Bois and the first game of the year from Redbank Valley. They have a bye. They will play the winner of this game, and it will be at Karn City on Thursday night at 7. On the other side of the bracket, it's the 2 seed Coudersport, 12-5. They're playing the 7 seed Smethport tonight, who is 9-9. So both out of that conference up there. I'm sure they play each other at least a couple of times this year. And then Keystone, 4-4. They're the 3 seed. They're hosting CL, who is 8-11. They're the 6 seed, and obviously we've already talked about that. Keystone has that lead at halftime. Those 2 teams will also play on Thursday night. Winner at the higher seed. So if Coudersport wins, the game will be at Cowdy. The finals for that game will be held on Saturday. Blaine, let's switch it over a little bit to the girls. We talked about we're doing that game again tomorrow night. So it's a 4-team bracket in AAA. Punxsutawney, the number 1 seed, and by far I think they're the cream of the crop in that bracket. They've played Redbank twice, beat them twice. They've played Montauk and Karn City and beat both of them as well. 2 seed is Redbank Valley. They'll host Montauk tomorrow night. Very interesting game. 2-3 seed. Redbank Valley won by 3 earlier at Montauk, and that was a 1-point game with about 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
Back here at Redbank, then Redbank won by 5. So that's an interesting game. That game is tomorrow night, Wednesday. The winners in that game, as Punxsutawney plays Karn City on the other side of the bracket, they'll play Friday night. Punxsutawney wins, it will be at Punxsutawney.
Yeah, I think it's one of those games, the should-could games. Redbank Valley should win that basketball game, but Montauk definitely could win the basketball game.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's give a shout-out, Blaine. All-Conference was voted on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Redbank Valley boys, Bryson Bain, first team All-Conference. Chris Marshall, second team All-Conference.
And that's what, people have to keep in mind. That's a lot different than football, basketball, volleyball. You got 5 players that are selected, and it's not by position either. It's just basically the top 5 vote getters. So with Marshall and Bain basically named 2 of the top 10 players in the KSAC.
Right. And then on the girls' side, Redbank 3 honorees, as Kaylin Rarick was first team All-Conference. Olivia Huffman was second team All-Conference. Madison Foringer was third team All-Conference. So 3 players on the 3-team list. So good job from the Bulldogs and Lady Bulldogs. Blaine, we do have another update here. This is on the girls' action. This would be girls single A. It is North Clarion 14, AC Valley 12, and it looks like that's midway through the second. That's in girls single A, and that's the 8-9 game.
Okay.
So Ridgway's coming back out on the court. So Blaine, what are you thinking? Ridgway out to an 8-0 start, everything going their way. Redbank battles back, and now they have the 8-point lead, so a 16-point swing. As a coach, what are you telling the kids?
I think that, first of all, if I'm Coach Marshall, I believe it's going to be Redbank Valley's possession here coming out of the half. If I'm reading the possession area correctly, Matt, right, we're switching ends, so it should be Redbank Valley basketball.
Correct.
I know that if I'm coming out of a half, that first possession of the third quarter of a football game is huge. I don't know if you can typically say the same thing about basketball, but in this game you may be able to say that just because 2 points maybe goes a little bit longer than what 2 points in a typical game goes. So I think this first possession is important for both teams because Redbank Valley has a chance to push it to double digits, or Ridgway can get a stop and possibly cut it to a 2-possession game.
Yeah, and like most sports, they talk about this in hockey a lot. The first 2 minutes of every period and the last 2 minutes of every period are just critical. Same thing in my sport of volleyball. Those first 5 to 6 points at the beginning of the set and at the end of the set really is where the games are won or lost.
Yeah, for sure.
So we got about a minute 50 left. We got Mr. Nathan Rarick coming up through the stands here. We give a hi out to Nathan as he does all the huddle videoing for the Redbank Valley Bulldog basketball team this year.
Also want to give a shout out to Matthew Green of the school's AV department. He was the one that was able to, if you saw the pregame intros, trying to do something special for the kids. That's a particular department led by Julie Aaron at the high school that is trained on all the equipment, the sound equipment, all those sort of things. And he made an appearance tonight to help that intro be, you know, special for the Redbank Valley basketball team. Typically you're having pep rallies and things along those lines, but obviously weren't able to do those things this year.
And we have another update coming through. This is actually from our girls basketball coach. He sent me over. Union is leading DCC. It's 23-15. Not sure where that game is, if it's halftime yet, but Union over DCC 23-15. We'll continue to give you updates throughout the second half here as we have Union DCC. It looks like we have North Clarion AC Valley, and obviously we have that Keystone CL game as well.
Yeah, so here we are getting ready to start this second half. Matt, who did you say is the leading scorer for Redbank Valley coming into this
We have
second half here?
both Bryson Bain and Chris Marshall leading with 9, and Owen Klaus, freshman,
Yeah,
leading with 6.
impressive.
He was the leading
Impressive.
scorer at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah. So we're coming up here, just about 20 seconds left here in the halftime, and obviously, again, with contrasting styles, we've mentioned this over and over again. You know, you look at the difference there, Matt. An 8-0 lead for Ridgway. Redbank Valley calls the timeout. I would say doesn't really blink, and then in a matter of time, they ended the first half. They were not tied or leading, but by the time we got to a couple minutes in the second quarter, they had taken that lead. We know that they can do that. We know they're capable of scoring. A little bit different for Ridgway here.
Yeah.
So, like we said, that getting to that 10, 12, 14 mark can be big for the Bulldogs.
You know, and Blaine, we talked about 41 points was kind of the magic number. Everyone
Yep.
who scored at least 41 has beat Ridgway this year. Redbank Valley already with 27 in the first half.
Marshall's going to drive there. He's looking for a foul, but he looked like he was going to shoot, and at the last second dished it down to Klaus. Klaus just wasn't ready, deflected off his hands and goes out of bounds. So Ridgway with that stop on the first possession there for Redbank Valley. 27-19. Oh, Chris Marshall nearly with the steal. He does get a hand on it. Bond attempting to save the ball from going out of bounds, loses possession of it, so Redbank Valley in a matter of seconds gets the basketball right back. On the floor for Redbank Valley, you have Gardlock, you have Marshall, you have Bain, we have Klaus, and we have Klaus. So both Klauses, 2 freshmen, starting on the floor here for Redbank Valley. Fed down inside to Klaus. Nice feed inside to Bain. Bain's shot doesn't go. He gets his rebound and he puts it up again. So there's that 10-point mark, Matt. I think that's the first time Redbank Valley's had that 10-point mark. So let's see what they can do with it at this point.
Yeah, Redbank Valley running a really nice weave up top and then finding Bryson Bain underneath.
With 2 freshmen, you know, to say the least. Matt, everybody that's on the floor right now will be returning for Redbank Valley next year. So Park has the ball at the top of the key. Park with the big 3-point shot right before halftime. It's going to be fed down to, looks like that's going to be Bond. Bond's going to drive, and they're going to get the charge call on Bond. Nice job by Bryson Bain by establishing himself, drawing the charge, and it's going to be Redbank Valley basketball 29-19. Now Ridgway is going to a press at this point. Gardlock gets the ball. He's going to dribble. Redbank Valley clears out to draw the Ridgway defenders back, gives it down in the corner to Klaus, over to Bain. Bain with a nice little hook to put it up and in. And Matt, as we continue here, it looks like the Bulldogs getting more and more comfortable, falling more and more in the element of their game.
And Blaine, you got to assume Redbank just is too athletic to press against them. They have too many ball handlers. So I'm not sure Ridgway will be able to get back in the game with
this
press
is,
or not.
you're probably looking at this. Oh, and the ball was on the floor. Looks like they did get the timeout for Ridgway.
So really, couldn't have been a better start for Redbank Valley coming out that second half, scoring 4 points, holding Ridgway, just got a jump ball.
12-point lead for the Bulldogs. Again, interesting. And Matt, we've kind of talked about this down the stretch. With the strong play of the Klauses, does Coach Marshall kind of go at this point in the year where there's no tomorrow? Obviously, really good contributions from a lot of those older classes. Do you throw them in? And Matt, you can probably understand that's one of the hardest things you got to do sometimes when you've got a freshman or a sophomore that are just really playing well. But when you look at the interest of the whole team, it looks like Coach Marshall deems that it's the best fit right now to have both of the freshmen on the floor for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and they're not playing like freshmen at all right now,
No,
Blaine.
they're not. They're not. Even their size, they look bigger than a typical freshman. They're both 4-sport athletes as that's fed down into Park, and that's going to cut it to a 10-point lead. Bain's going to bring the ball across half court, going to give it to Gardlock. Really tight there at the top with Bain and Marshall right underneath of Gardlock, and that ball's going to be stolen by Miller. Gardlock was attempting to get to Marshall. It's going to be fed over to Allegretto and then to Bond, and then it's going to go back to Allegretto. Allegretto drives against Klaus, gives it over to Sorg. Back to Allegretto, then back to Sorg. Both Klauses, and it looked like there Klaus was going to have a breakaway. Got a hand on it, but it was taken there. And Ridgway with a big three-point shot. So, Matt, we talked about how maybe they don't take many, but that was a big one there to cut the lead to 7. So a little 5-0 run there in the last 2 possessions for the Elkers. Bain has the ball at the top. Going to give it to Klaus. Back down to Gardlock. Gardlock's going to dribble to his left between his legs, back to his right, fed down inside to Bain. And Bain's going to put it up and in. And same song, different verse, Matt. We've talked about how Bain's done the dirty work inside all season long. Bain can literally score from anywhere on the floor.
Yeah, Blaine, Redbank Valley, 6 points in the third quarter, all from Bryson Bain.
So Bond up there at the top. It looks like that it's Bond and Sorg working the ball. Nice job. Both Klauses responsible for defending both of those guys man-to-man. Miller's going to come up, so Klaus is going to switch. Klaus is going to go over to Allegretto. Allegretto with nowhere to go. Holding the basketball, looking for a guy, gives it to Miller. Miller gives it inside down to Park. Park tries a little bit of a hook underneath, doesn't go. Chris Marshall running the ball down the floor, down to Gardlock, and Gardlock's going to lay it up and in for 2. (35-24), Redbank Valley pushes the lead to 11, second largest lead of the game. Sorg with the basketball. And that's going to go up and in there by Bond with the 2. Redbank Valley just as quickly down the floor as Ridgway's backpedaling, and Marshall's 3 bounces, does not go. And it's going to be deflected off of Ridgway. It's going to remain Redbank Valley basketball. So a really fast-moving third quarter here, Matt. We've only had 1 foul so far.
And Blaine, you have to give credit to both the coach and players of Ridgway to buy into a system where you know there's not going to be a lot of scoring. You know, everyone wants to put up 10, 15, 20 points a game, and you know if you're part of this Ridgway team, you're just not going to score that much. And they've been so successful, like we talked about earlier, 6 District 9 finals in the last 9 years.
Yep.
This gives us a chance, Blaine, to again mention our sponsors. We have Pat Merwin Realty, found on Broad Street in New Bethlehem, owner Janelle Bond. We have Deb's Twisted Scissors on Wood Street, New Bethlehem, owner Deb Zamperini. Subway, located in New Bethlehem. Patriot Wood Products out of New Bethlehem, owners Darren Bain and Steve Smith. Homegrown Creativity, owner Ashton Shirey, located in Templeton, PA. And Seidels of Clarion Automotive Sales and Service, owner Tom Seidel, general manager Brian Ruth. Update coming out. It looks like North Clarion and Single A Girls is leading AC Valley 22-15.
So coming out of the full timeout there, it's going to be Redbank Valley underneath. No, that's going to be Marshall inbounding to Bain. Bain's going to drive. Looks like it's going to be deflected off of a Ridgway defender. It's going to remain Redbank Valley basketball again. Bain's going to give it over to Marshall. Marshall with the ball. He's going to backpedal. Vaughn is defending him. Give it down to Bain. Bain with the ball at the top of the key.
Real nice patience by Bain there.
Yes.
Didn't have the look, so he brings it out, resets the offense.
Yeah, and Matt, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, Redbank Valley's been run and gun all season. Do you reach a point because you know what your opponent does? Do you try to slow it down a little bit because you know that each possession, just how much time Ridgway eats with each possession? It'll be interesting to watch that down the stretch here. Gardlock's going to drive, not going to go, and that's going to be deflected off Ridgway again. And obviously, I mean, Matt, if it's off Ridgway, it's off Ridgway, but that is 3 balls in the same exact location that have been contested, that have gone Redbank Valley's way. I can't see down there. You and I don't have a good vantage point, but obviously you can understand that why some of the jeers are coming there. Mansfield's shot doesn't go. He gets his own rebound and he's able to deflect it. And
Once
will stay
again, it stays
Valley
Redbank
basketball.
ball.
That one was a
Continuing-
little more clear. You can't really jeer that one too much.
Redbank continues to keep possession.
So Redbank Valley here, this was about 3:33. They're going to eat a minute off a clock here on this possession, and Bain's going to take the long three, not going to go, and that's going to be rebounded down underneath there by Benninger.
And I
So
think
a
if you're
9-point lead.
Ridgway, you want to really look to get this game probably down to like a 4-point game
Yes,
before the end of the
yes.
third quarter.
So for Redbank Valley on the floor, we have Maganotti, Bain, Gardlock, Marshall, and Mansfield. And it's really interesting to see, Matt, because, you know, there's been some nights we haven't seen Mansfield on the court a lot. There's other nights like tonight we do see him a lot. So it's probably one of those things, and you understand this one. You got a guy with a hot hand. Coach Marshall just kind of going with the feel because he does 1 through 10. He's got a pretty strong bench.
Stay with him. Stay with the hot hand. Absolutely.
Gardlock's going to drive to his left, feed it inside to Bain. Bain's going to go up. It's not going to go. That's going to go Ridgway basketball. So still, even though when that timeout was called, Matt, it was 3:33. So almost a minute and a half has gone off the clock here. No scores have happened. Again, much precious time in this style. What did you say, Matt? Nobody had scored more than what against
41.
Ridgway? 41. So this is definitely an area here for Ridgway they're not used to, with the team being at 35 in the third quarter. Park has the ball, looks to take the jumper. It's going to be fed inside, and it's going to be put up and in by Benninger. So that's going to cut it to 7 here. Redbank Valley's going to bring the ball up with 1:21 left in the third, excuse me. Bain with the basketball. He's going to dribble to his right. He's going to give it to Marshall, almost stolen by Miller, but Marshall regains possession. He's going to backpedal. He is going to reset at the top of the key. Marshall's going to dribble to his left, and they're going to get Marshall with the travel. Marshall doesn't like it. Marshall felt that it should have been a jump ball or a foul there, but they do get Marshall on the travel. So a chance here to cut this to a 2-possession basketball game for Ridgway. Right now it's 7. Best case scenario, unless you have an and 1 situation, it would take 3 possessions to at least tie it.
And Marshall will come back up top for pressure.
Yeah, Gardlock has checked out of the game on the bench for the last minute here. You have both Klauses on the floor with Marshall, Bain, and Maganotti. Get a drive to his left, and they're going to get Marshall on the charge.
And that's going to be 3 fouls on Marshall.
That's going to be 3 for Marshall.
Very clean second half, Blaine, and only 1 foul on each team in the
Yep.
second half. Very quick-moving third quarter.
And so they're going to trade there. Gardlock and Marshall. Looked like he had intentions to sit Gardlock the rest of that quarter, but obviously no point in letting Marshall pick up a possible 4th foul. Marshall and Gardlock, Matt, have both done a good job down the stretch. Early on, they did have some issues of fouling out during games early. So obviously this is the last situation that you want to have either one of those guys fouling out. It's going to be stolen by Bain, fed down to Gardlock. And that's going to be deflected by Allegretto, and they're going to call it off the knee of Gardlock.
So we've talked about this both the first and second quarter. The last 10 seconds definitely won by Redbank. Let's see what happens here at the end of the third.
So that's going to be nice move there by Bond. It's going to be given to Miller. Miller's going to get it to go, and that's going to be the last bucket here of the third quarter. As Ridgway's able to cut, what was at one point a 12-point lead for Redbank Valley, is able to cut that down to a 5-point lead here going into the fourth, and the Elkers faithful are definitely let the home crowd know it.
So leading scorers, Blaine, after 3, we have Dan Park with 9. We have Dominic Allegretto with 6. RJ Miller with 6. Alex Bond with 5. Jack Benninger and Aaron Sorg with 2. For your Bulldogs, we have Bryson Bain leading the way. He has 15. Chris Marshall in with 9. Owen Klaus with 6. And Marquise Gardlock with 5.
So it looked like, Matt, we talked about how Ridgway hasn't given up more than 41. At one point there, it looked like in the third that Redbank Valley was going to get to 40 in the third, but Ridgway tightening down the defense, keeping Redbank Valley at that 35 spot there. Gardlock with a good opportunity to push that to 37 with 14 seconds left, but a nice hustle play by Allegretto, deflecting the ball and ultimately going off of Gardlock's knee out of bounds.
Blaine, interesting game going on up at Keystone. Keystone led 34-16 at the half. That's an 18-point lead. At the end of 3, it's 43-38. So it's down to 5.
Impressive run there by CL. So Benninger with the basketball at the top of the key. He's going to give it over to Allegretto. Allegretto's going to give it inside to Park. Miller's going to drive, not going to go. Rebounded by Marshall. He's got his buddy Gardlock at the other end, and Gardlock's going to throw it down. Gardlock with the two-handed slam for Redbank Valley, and Gardlock coming down the floor, quite excited there with an emphasis throwing it down. And Matt, that's the first time we've had a student section to be excited there for a dunk that we've seen multiple times this year. Park with a 3 that goes in and out. 7-point lead for Redbank Valley. 1 minute gone in the fourth. Given over to Maganati. Back to Marshall. And Matt, I don't know if we can say it's the first, but certainly would be the first in a very long time if Redbank Valley can win this playoff game on their home court. As essentially aren't almost all playoff basketball games at an alternate site, usually the university.
It'd be interesting to know when Redbank won a game here. I got Rich Rhodes down in front. Maybe I'll ask him that question. If anyone would know, he would know the answer to that.
Rich has got 6 minutes to figure that out. Marshall's going to take it. He's going to put it up and in for 2. So the combination of Gardlock and Marshall, 4-0 run to start the fourth, pushes it to a 9-point lead as we approach the 2-minute mark here of the fourth.
Blaine, we're being told that the camera has froze. We still have the audio, so we will continue to give you coverage.
We will continue to give you play-by-play. We can tell you that the Pences are probably the most experienced parents of this. We've learned a lot by trial, by area. They know what to do. Do they know?
Holly.
We're getting feedback that we froze. Okay, all right. Again, if at any point we think we're going to be getting things back up and running here, if we aren't already, as the first foul shot's missed, we will still be here with you with audio the entire way if we cut in and out. So the first shot there by Park does not go. We have some substitutions for both sides. Checking into the basketball game for Redbank Valley is Sherry, Klaus, Marshall, Bain, and Gardlock. And forgive me, that's not checking into the game, but that's who's on the floor, period.
Blaine, Ridgway is 2 for 7 at the free throw line.
Yeah, so it looks like it's going to be a hold. The far referee calls that.
Interesting, yeah, that was definitely out at
Marshall
half court.
took the 3, it didn't go. It's going to remain Redbank Valley basketball. We're still 2-2 here, so I don't think any side can complain right now about fouls. Dead even here at this point. Just about even at the end of the first. I think Redbank Valley had 1, maybe 2 more fouls than Ridgway, so it's been dead even the entire game.
We're going to have off the ball foul there on Redbank.
And that's going to be Gardlock.
Still, though, he had 2 fouls in the first quarter.
So Gardlock's done he did a good job in the middle portion of that game in quarters 2 and 3 to keep that there. And so, Matt, here we are at this point. We've talked about this from the top. A 9-point lead is different when you play this Ridgway basketball team. I imagine if you Redbank Valley prevent possible 3-point shots, which Ridgway turned down a wide open one there. If they're going to get it, make them eat clock, make them get the 2, make them work for it, and hopefully score on the other end. Miller with the basketball. And it's going to be kicked by Gardlock, so it's going to be inbounded. We're going to have, that's going to be Klaus and Benninger checking into the game, respectfully for the Bulldogs and for the Elkers. Bond's going to inbound it to Park. Bond's going to make a move on the baseline. He's going to give it over to Miller. Miller's going to drive. He's going to spin. He's going to lay it up and in. 7-point game here as we approach the 5-minute mark of the fourth quarter.
Nice move by R.J. Miller from Ridgway.
Bain with the basketball. Gives it over to Marshall. Gives it to Gardlock. Gardlock's going to drive. He's going to spin. He's going to feed it inside to Bain. That's a nice feed inside. Bain's shot is too strong. And that's going to be a rebound by Miller. Miller, possibly one of the shortest in stature on the floor, is able to reach above all of the outstretched arms to bring down that rebound. Nice job by number 2 in purple. Fed inside the Park, and they are going to get the foul there on Marshall. Is that going to be Marshall's 4th? I was thinking Marshall picked up 3 there at the end of the 3rd. No, they're going to get that on Bain. And I don't think that's Bain's 1st. That's actually, I think, his 2nd. But Park makes the first free throw, so 39-33, 6-point lead. Park trying to get it back to what it was to start the fourth quarter, and he does. So we started the fourth quarter, Matt, with a 5-point lead. With 4:38, we are again at a 5-point lead for Redbank Valley. Marshall's going to feed it deep to Gardlock, and it's going to go out of bounds.
And Blaine, this is really what it's all about. I mean, basketball in the playoffs, 39-34 in the fourth quarter. Great atmosphere with what fans we do have here.
And so since that ball never touched inbounds off of anybody, that's going to be Ridgway's basketball under their hoop, and Coach Marshall's going to call a timeout here. Coach Marshall probably understanding what a big possession this is to try to keep it to a 2-possession lead.
Gives us an opportunity to once again thank our sponsors. Pat Merwin Realty, found on Broad Street in New Bethlehem. Owner Janelle Bond, found online at merwinrealty.com. On Facebook at Pat Merwin Realty. Deb's Twisted Scissors is on Wood Street in New Bethlehem. Owner Deb Zamperini. Subway located in New Bethlehem. Patriot Wood Products out of New Bethlehem. Owners Darren Bain and Steve Smith. You can find them on Facebook at Patriot Wood Products or call them at 541-2920. Homegrown Creativity. Owners Ashton Shirey, located in Templeton, PA. And Seidels of Clarion, Automotive Sales and Service. They're found on East Main Street in Clarion, across from Sheets. Owner is Tom Seidel. GM is Brian Ruth, and they can be found at seidelsofclarion.com. Please, if you see any of these business owners, give them a thank you. Please patronize their business. Without them, we couldn't bring you not only tonight's game, but also tomorrow's girls' game as the Lady Bulldogs host Montauk.
So here we go, big possession here for Ridgway. As they're going to inbound. Allegretto's going to look, getting close to that 5-second, and Gardlock. And they're going to get Gardlock on the foul. That's going to be his 4th.
And what you worry about now is Marquise going to continue to play such good defense, knowing
sure.
he has 4 fouls.
Yep, definitely. So that's going to be Bond with the basketball. It's stolen by Klaus. Klaus is going to take it. He's going to lay it up and in. What a big play by the freshman.
Yeah, the most dangerous pass in basketball is that cross.
Owen and Mason
pass.
Klaus both have had tonight in their first career playoff game basketball-wise. Klaus is going to get it. He's going to feed it to Gardlock. Gardlock's going to, looks like it's going to lay on the front of the rim, but it's going to make its way in, and there's that 43 we talked about. So Redbank Valley pushes it back to a 9-point lead halfway through the fourth quarter. 3:58 left. And so this is the point, Matt, I'm curious to see if Coach Marshall's going to try to slow it down on his end, because they know how long it takes to score. And a nice take by You know, Matt Miller's done that a handful of times tonight. You think he's dead in the water, but really
nice
impressive
spin
takes.
moves.
7-point lead, Redbank Valley, 3:37 left. Marshall's going to drive. He's going to hand it to Klaus. He's going to give it to Gardlock. Gardlock's going to give it to the top to Klaus. Going to give it to Marshall. Marshall's going to drive to his right. Short jumper, not going to go. Rebound. And that did look, I thought it went off of Bain, so I was kind of hesitant. I was wondering why it took so long to make that call, but it did look like it fair that it was
a
going
good
off
call.
of Bain.
It looks like we're going to have a media timeout here, Blaine. So no other updates. We did have that Keystone CL score. Keystone leading 43-38 at the end of 3. They had an 18-point lead at halftime, and CL's cut that one down to 5. North Clarion AC Valley, last update we have from that is North Clarion 22, AC Valley 15, and then we had the Union score was at halftime. Our last update, that's a 23-15 score, Union over DuBois Central. That's in girls action. Before we forget, Blaine, at the end of the game here, we would definitely want to thank the Pences.
Yes.
Up on the camera. Again, thank you to Mr. Hartle, trying to get 127 people in the gym.
Yes.
I mean, if you looked at the spreadsheet,
For sure.
he had it down to the T at 127.
Yeah, and so, keep in mind, too, we talked about this before. Mr. Hartle is not a full-time AD, so juggling his teaching responsibilities and the athletic director responsibility, not only for tonight, but back-to-back home playoff games for the boys and the girls Bulldogs team. 7-point lead, Redbank Valley approaching the 3-minute mark. Ball deflected. It's taken by Miller. Is he going to pull off the patented spin and up and in?
Almost 3 seconds
he
there.
dribbles up, given down to Allegretto. It's going to be given inside the park. He's on Klaus, and Allegretto's going to take it up and in, and Ridgway's going to take a timeout.
So back to that 5-point lead, and again, talking about Mr. Hartle, obviously with everything going on today, I had reached out to him with a junior high volleyball question of all things, and he reached back out to me right away. So he's on top of not just a playoff basketball game, but our junior high sports as well. So we got to give kudos out to what we feel here obviously is the best AD, not just in the KSAC or District 9, but I could safe to say maybe in all of Pennsylvania.
I'm sure he'll take it.
And I don't get paid any more for saying that either.
And he'll get razzed by his fellow colleagues that are watching tonight about that being said. But we do, in all seriousness, respect and are really appreciative of his efforts. So 2:55 here, really interesting down the stretch. Matt, we've had twice where Redbank Valley has extended that 5-point lead to either a double-digit lead or a 9-point lead, and Ridgway has answered both times to cut it back down to 5.
Yeah, Ridgway will not go away. You got to give them credit. They keep playing tremendous defense, hustle. They continue to pass the ball. They're not just taking the first open shot. They're continuing to get the exact shot they want each time down with a possession.
So Bain's going to inbound it to Gardlock. Gardlock's going to push it down the length of the floor. He gets down. He's going to immediately give it back to Bain. He's got Marshall wide open. Marshall's going to set up, hit the 3, not going to go. It's going to be rebounded by Park. So with 2:40 left, Ridgway with the chance here to cut it to a 1-possession game. Gardlock there attempting to steal. Got to be careful here with 4 fouls, I imagine. Looks like Miller was possibly taking an extra spot. What a shot, Matt. I mean, Miller has continued to answer each time there. As we have a 3-point lead.
We got a game now, Blaine. 2 minutes left. 3-point lead.
43-40 for Redbank Valley. A little feed to Marshall, immediately hands it back off to Bain. Bain's going to drive to his right. Marshall's going to set a pick. Bain's going to drive to his left, and there's going to be a foul called on Miller. And so that's going to be Ridgway's 3rd foul, 2nd on Miller. Allegretto for Ridgway doing a good job, too, of not picking up any more fouls since he got in foul trouble in the first half. 2 minutes to go, Matt. 2 minutes to go, 3-point game. Marshall gives the ball to Gardlock, gives it to Klaus. Klaus gives it to Bain. Bain gives it to Klaus. Klaus gives it to Marshall. Marshall's going to drive to his left for a step, and then he's going to back off. Miller guarding him. Miller, and they're going to get Miller on another consecutive
Yeah, and
foul.
at some point Ridgway does got to start getting some fouls here.
They do.
They're
So that's going to be 4 on Ridgway.
yeah. If they have
again,
to get him to the
maybe-
line.
Maybe we've got this point here where Coach Marshall, I imagine he's probably going to want to get at least one more bucket here before saying take the last shot. Bain's going to take the long 3. It's not going to go, but Gardlock's going to get the rebound. Nice hustle play by Gardlock. He's going to drive the baseline, and the ball's going to go out of bounds.
First time Ridgway's had a chance to tie this game in
Yep.
a long time.
In a long time.
Yeah.
The closest they've gotten to this point, I think, is 5 before this, so a 3-point game here. And Gardlock looks like he takes a shot to the face there. He's going to recover. It's going to be given there to Ridgway. We have not seen it. It's going to be stolen by Redbank Valley Bain. And as we approach the 1-minute mark here, Matt, again, really interested to see what Coach Marshall's going to do here.
Looking to see if we have any updates, Blaine, from any of the other games. I don't see anything right now. No more updates. So we got a 3-point lead here for Redbank. Kind of starved off that there as Ridgway had the ball, tried to get it in low, and a nice steal from the Bulldogs to keep the 3-point lead, and now they have possession. So look for Ridgway probably to foul quickly.
Yeah, I
out
would
of this.
imagine. They got 3 fouls to give, 2 to give before they go to the foul line.
Yeah. So again, same game time tomorrow night. This will be the AAA semifinals. On the girls' side, Redbank Valley will host Montauk. The winner of that game will play Friday night against the winner of Punxsutawney and Karn City. If Punxsutawney wins that game, the game will be at Punxsutawney.
So here we go. Redbank Valley basketball. 1 minute, 11 seconds left. Big steal. I believe that was Klaus. It was Klaus and Bain fighting for possession underneath with that basketball. Ridgway trying to get the steal off of the inbounds pass. It's going to be immediately given to Marshall and right back to Bain. Really close to that baseline, Matt. Bain taking his time coming up the floor. He's going to drive.
And obviously, if you're
get the
Redbank
foul.
Valley, you want the ball in Bryson Bain's hand. Very good free throw shooter.
Yeah. And if you're Ridgway, you're trying to force the opposite. You're trying to immediately get it, especially when you get to the shooting bonus, trying to immediately get the foul on someone that's not wearing number 1. So not sure. Something at the scores table here has paused our play. The official checking. Now we are going to inbound the basketball. Bain's going to give it to Gardlock. They're going to get Gardlock on the travel. So here we go again, Matt. The worst, unless you have an and one committed, the worst Ridgway can do right now if you're a Redbank Valley fan is tie up the basketball game. Not a ton of threes we've seen attempted, but it's funny because it is the big man that has hit the threes when they've taken them. So Miller is going to have the possession. He's going to spin. He's going to kick it out to Allegretto. Allegretto's going to hit it. So excitement on the Ridgway end, but again, if you're a Redbank Valley fan, you do have the opportunity here to take the last shot of the basketball game.
Absolutely. Although the score is tied, it is Redbank Valley possession.
Big shot by Allegretto. Huge shot. So here we are, 43-43. Such a good basketball game tonight, Matt. We've seen the momentum shift to both sides. We've seen both teams overcome upwards of 8-9 point deficits. Ridgway's overcome a 12-point deficit in the second half, has overcome a 9-point deficit in the fourth quarter here. Really great basketball game by both sides. One of those games you hate to see someone go home, but someone's going to go home.
Yeah, a lot of talent on the floor tonight.
Whether
We're seeing
it's
that.
in 44 seconds or an extra few minutes here, somebody's going home. And we're going to find out if it's going to be in 4 quarters, if we're going to have an extra possession.
And we still got something going on over the scoring table. I'm not sure what
Yeah,
that
Matt,
is.
interesting here because if Redbank Valley doesn't take the last shot, Ridgway is absolutely taking the last shot. And then you're in a position there. Neither team can foul, send someone to the line. But obviously, if you put Ridgway in a situation where they take the last shot, that's their game. They're going to move it. as long as they can to get their shot, and then they're going to take it.
Yeah, and look, although Bryson Bain is running point right now, look for Redbank to work the ball around and to maybe get the ball down low to
Yes.
Bryson.
Up top by Klaus. Wow, no foul called there. Klaus got hit pretty hard there as a Ridgway defender. And nice. Bain with the shot, misses, gets his rebound as it's on the floor.
Well, it was smart to get the time out there from Ridgway, but he had the kid streaking. If he could have hit him, that was a wide open layup for Ridgway coming down there.
I was surprised there, Matt, that they did take the shot so quickly, but it was a quick turn of events there, or a quick flurry of activity. Bain took the shot, missed, but as he was falling down, he caught his rebound, got it out real quickly before he would have got called for the travel. And if you're Ridgway, this is probably what you want. This is your game. They've got 22 seconds to get the shot that they want. They're going to inbound the ball just beyond half court. They're going to be able to take their time here to take last shot.
And Redbank has a foul to give. Let's not forget that. And it looks like, within those last 30 seconds, the officials are really letting them play here. So we'll see what happens. 22 seconds left. You know what they say, Blaine, offense puts the highlights up, but defense wins championships. So let's say if Redbank Valley can hold them here.
Vaughn's going to inbound the ball. And that looks like Park. Park's going to put it up and in. So Redbank Valley here's got to match it. Redbank Valley playing for their season at this point, looking for the two. Bain's going to take the long three, not going to go. Rebound, guard lock. It's going to be Ridgway basketball. So, Matt, look for Redbank Valley if they don't get a steal here to foul right away.
They got a foul,
and then
definitely.
probably foul again right away. Redbank Valley's going to call the timeout. We don't have the luxury of looking at instant replay, but Ridgway seemed to have two defenders. They had a 2-on-1 matchup and were able to get the score underneath to push it to a 2-point lead.
Again, you got to give a shout out to both teams here tonight, Blaine. I mean, putting everything out on the court.
And I think, too, when you play a team like Ridgway, even if it's not your typical Ridgway team, it's a championship caliber program that winning breeds winning. So whether you're someone, obviously you've got classes that are more athletic than other classes, but when winning breeds winning, it doesn't matter who's coming up there. They've been in these situations. I imagine they've been down in playoff games, and they've been able to battle back. So be interesting to see here how Redbank Valley treats this possession. I imagine it's going to be an attempt for a steal right away and an instant foul.
Yeah, and the good thing for Redbank, Ridgway's inbounding the ball down in their own side of the court, so we'll see what happens here.
Got a foul, and they do.
Okay.
And so Ridgway's going to get the chance to inbound again with 6 seconds, and obviously want to try to get the foul again to send them to the free throw line.
And looking, Blaine, Ridgway's only had 2 players at the free throw line the entire game.
And it will be a 1-and-1, so it is possible after the front end. It could still be a 2-possession game, but in that situation, Redbank Valley's got to push the floor quick to try to get that shot off. So it is going to be a foul. It's going to be fouled against Park.
And
foul
Park
committed by Bain.
Park currently 2 for 4 from the free throw line.
And it looked like that was the guy they were trying to get the ball to. He ran immediately to the side, low bounce pass to him. Nothing Bain could do to deflect it. Immediately fouls him. So again, we don't keep track of timeouts, Matt. I don't know if Redbank Valley has any left. There's going to be action there. It's not going to go. Marshall has the rebound. 3. Marshall with the chance, with the runner. Oh, they call a foul! What's the call? What's the call? What was the call?
He blew the whistle.
He blew the whistle, and then he waved it off and ran off the floor. What's the call? What's the call? It looks like he just blew the whistle and ran off the floor.
Yeah, so obviously we don't have a replay, but he definitely blew the whistle before the clock went out.
And then it looked like he waved it off, am I right? I don't know if he called it. Even if it's a charge, he's got to make the call. I don't know. Not certain what happened at that point. Confusion, it looks like, on both sides, but We have all zeros on the clock, and it is a 2-point victory for the Ridgway Elkers. So sadly, a really positive, good season has come to an end for the Bulldogs. But kudos to them for turning around, taking a losing season and turning it into a winning season.
And really nice sportsmanship from Dan Park of Ridgway going over. He was talking to Darren Bain, one of the volunteer coaches. So nice job on Ridgway. So this does give us an opportunity to get with our sponsors one last time, Blaine. They brought us the game tonight. They'll bring us the game again tomorrow. Pat Merwin Realty, found on Broad Street in New Bethlehem. Owner Janelle Bond. Found online at merwinrealty.com and on Facebook at Pat Merwin Realty, where the key to your home is our integrity. Pat Merwin Realty provides knowledge, service, honesty, security, team effort, experience, and integrity. If these values are important to you, then Pat Merwin Realty is the agency for you. Deb's Twisted Scissors is on Wood Street in New Bethlehem. Owner Debbie Zamperini specializes in color, cuts, tanning, manis, petties, and eyelashes. Great staff of Julia McGinnis, Alice Canan, Holly Devers, Angie Beatty, and Kayla Keene. Subway located in New Bethlehem, where winners eat fresh. Try our new protein bowls. Patriot Wood Products out of New Bethlehem. Owners Darren Bain and Steve Smith. Find them on Facebook at Patriot Wood Products or call 814-541-2920. They specialize in custom furniture and wood products, powder coating, and hydrographic services. PWP brings your ideas to reality. Grown creativity. Owner Ashton Shirey, located in Templeton, PA, specializes in decals, clothing, home decor, and holiday decorations. She can also personalize items. Find Homegrown Creativity on Facebook for the latest in home decor. Seidels of Clarion Automotive Sales and Service, found on East Main Street in Clarion, across from Sheets. Owners are Tom Seidel, General Manager Brian Ruth. They can find them at seidelsofclarion.com. They're open Mondays 9 to 7, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday 9 to 5, Saturdays 9 to noon. So again, if you see any of these owners, please give them a big thank you. Please patronize their business, as they were able to bring this game to you, as the fee was charged by District 9 for playoff games. So both the games tonight and tomorrow was paid for by those sponsors. So Blaine, back to the game. Obviously, disappointment for Redbank Valley, but you got to take into consideration this was a 5-17 last year. 5-17. What a turnaround this year. Exciting basketball throughout the entire season. A lot to keep your heads up for this season for these Bulldogs.
Yeah, obviously it's one of those things. Nothing you can say to a player right now is going to console them. It hurts, especially when you're so close. You have a 9-point lead in the fourth quarter. Gets away from you. You got a little bit of controversy at the end, not really knowing what's happening, but at the end of the day, impressive turnaround from those guys. And again, every single one of them are coming back next year. Every single one of them will be wearing a Redbank Valley uniform. Actually, let me correct myself. The Redbank Valley basketball team will be graduating. Landon Pence, Owen Maganotti, and Ty Sherry. What I was referencing is essentially your leading scorers will be returning. But congratulations to Sherry, Pence, and Maganotti on their career here at Redbank Valley.
Yeah, updates before we go off the air, Blaine. We have a final up at Keystone. So Keystone advances. They had a 54-50 win over CL. They'll play the winner of that Coudersport-Smethport game.
So that turned into a good basketball game.
Yeah, it did. So tomorrow night, we're back here again, 7 o'clock. We're going to go live again at 6:45, kind of do a pregame of the girls' game, which is Redbank Valley against Montauk, the 2-3 game. The winner of that will play the winner of Punxsutawney Carn City. That game will be held tomorrow night as well, and the winner of those two games will play on Friday.
So we're going to be signing off here. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we will see you tomorrow night. Rich.